I'm Micah Smith with Dr. James Rouse of the Human Grace Project.
Hey, Micah.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, so good.
In your latest episode, you discussed body language, and I have to be honest, I think you scared a few people, Dr. Rouse.
That was not my intention, but I think we all know, and listen, I'm closing in on 30 years of being married to my beloved, and there have been times when I've witnessed myself going, oh, this is a kind of a tough time, and I'm going to kind of do this. And now that I know that there's a lot of science that tells us and how she's picking up on my cues through my body language, it's helped me at the very least to be cognizant of it and really want to work on it, because I don't want our relationship to start to dissolve or fall apart. So I know how important it is to lean in, as Dr. Gottman suggests.
Well, you know what I was thinking when you were going through the signs of, I don't want to say bad body language, but that's kind of what we're talking about here. As soon as you said the pat hug, I thought, oh my goodness, how many loved ones have I church hugged lately? What was I telling them when I did that? Is that bad? Is that bad?
Well, it's not bad, and I think, but you know what it is that it's a sign. Or it's a symptom, right? We have to kind of go to ourselves, all right, so there was a time when you were falling in love, when you were starting to feel that deep connection. Oh my gosh, we went in and we hugged. And studies show that if we're in there hugging at least 7 to 10, even 12 seconds, we start to produce something called oxytocin. And oxytocin is sometimes called the love hormone. That love hormone only happens when we're in a real hug. But if we're going in, and guys call it like a golf hug, you go in and then you dismount, you're in there for like 2 seconds. When that happens, no oxytocin is produced. So that church hug or that golf hug, Micah, what really is happening is a deep physiological exchange of energy when we hug. But when we're not really truly being in that space, we're not exchanging that hormone, and that hormone makes us feel love.
And I want to be clear, if a relationship's not working, this isn't going to necessarily fix your relationship, but this is a way to make sure you're conveying your feelings, right?
Yeah, I mean, totally. I mean, I think here's what we have to do. We have to ask ourselves, am I feeling connected? Or is there more work to be done? Or am I getting lazy? Right? We can get comfortable in relationships and start going through the motions. We don't make eye contact anymore. We have our phone in between us and our partner. We start not feeling we want to confide in the things that we really need. Dr. Gottman talks about something, doing the bidding. Bidding is simply meaning that you look at your partner and you can sense what they may need, and you're not afraid to actually bring it forward. You don't hold back or you don't turn away. And I think that this can be done not just with spouses and lovers and marriage and partners, but also our kids, our friends. We want to make sure that there's true connection. That whole idea of leaning in is not just a metaphor. It's really a way of leading life and really being a trustworthy person who exchanges that sense of trust.
I thought it was really interesting when you said Dr. Gottman could tell within 90% accuracy if your relationships will last just based on body language. And that's the part that I think might have scared a few people too. Like, oh no, I'm not sitting correctly with my spouse. I'm not being present. So I thought that was really interesting.
It is, and I think what's really great about Dr. Gottman's work is that he's really spent nearly 50 years watching couples and just trying to see what cues connote whether or not that relationship is really moving in the right direction, or say, you know what, guys, you really need to look at these 1, 2, or 3 tendencies that you have and start to work on them. I mean, I think all relationships are work, and they're all a practice, right? There's no such thing as a perfect relationship. But our willingness to be humble enough and vulnerable enough to actually ask ourselves, is there work that I could be doing? And even saying to your partner, hey, sweetheart, honey, am I doing okay here? Is there anything I'm not seeing? Anything that I could be doing better? And being open enough to say, hey, I'm a student. There's a beautiful word, it's discipline, which simply means being a student, disciple. And every day we get a chance to be a student of what makes love work, what makes trust build. And we know when it's working, it feels wonderful. Not being afraid to say, it may not be perfect, but I'm practicing.
James, I think I got all of my questions out. I'm sure our viewers have questions of their own. They can email us if you have questions. You can also catch more Human Grace Project episodes on the Denver 7 app, as well as any of your streaming devices.